Hey everybody, Christopher McGraw, Almost Adventurous here. I want to talk a little bit about some of my favorite pieces of clothing. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces of Patagonia clothing. This is the Nano-Air Light Hoodie. It is something that they no longer make for reasons that I cannot understand, because this is something that I wear all year long and I love it. Let's dive into it. So they make the Nano-Air Light Hoodie in both men's and women's. This is a men's size medium. My wife actually has a women's version and we both love them. It is used by me a lot in the fall and winter for a lot of hiking. It can be used for mountaineering and climbing. It's really lightweight. That's the biggest thing, hence the light in the name. It's a lot lighter than the regular Nano-Air Hoodie. And it's a lot lighter in both weight and as far as the insulation goes, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First things first, let's talk about the looks a little bit. So this is not a full zip, as you can see here. It zips down 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. So it does zip open quite a bit to allow you to dump some of the heat if you're hiking. Also different from the first gen Nano-Air Hoodie, but similar to what the more recent Nano-Air Hoodies, the cuffs here are just stretchy. So no Velcro on the cuffs, just stretchy. It allows you to pull them up onto your forearms. Pull your sleeves up. Another thing that I really like about this is the hood. It's a similar hood to all the Nano-Air hoodies. Fits really nicely underneath a helmet. And pockets. We have one pocket here. The regular Nano-Air Hoodie has 4 pockets, so you're cutting quite a bit of weight there. The original colors that this thing came in for the men was like a cool blue and orange color. You could get like a royal blue with orange accents, or vice versa, orange with royal blue accents. That's actually the one that I had first. I had it in a size small, but the size small was a bit snug on me. I usually wear a 36 in like suits, for example. And even though the Nano-Air material does stretch, I did like having the size medium because it's a little bit of a slimmer fit. It's not a very boxy fit. Since the first generation was introduced, they came out with more colors, and I do really like, this is actually a green color. It looks more yellow to me. Personally, it's not quite peppergrass green, but it is, this one stands out to me. I really like this color quite a bit. Speaking of the exterior, the shell is actually a 1.6 ounce, 30 denier, 100% nylon stretch ripstop fabric. So the big thing about the Nano-Air in general was the fact that both the insulation and the outside is really stretchy. It allows for that movement, and that's unchanged here. It's the same as the Nano-Air jackets. This allows for a lot of stretch, and so that nylon 30 denier ripstop helps with that. The inside is actually a little bit heavier, so this navy blue fabric here is actually a 2 ounce 50 denier nylon plain weave. So we got ripstop on the outside and then a plain weave on the inside. So even though it is ripstop, I would recommend, if you're going to be doing some bushwhacking, I think this would actually be really good for hunting because of how quiet the material is. But I would not recommend having this be on the outside if you're going to go through some thick brush. I know when I go bird hunting in northern Michigan, there's a lot of thick brush. I would not wear this on the outside. I would be afraid of tears because it does seem like it's a little bit more gentle of a fabric than some of the shells out there that are more abrasion resistant. So just keep that in mind. It is a great fabric. It cannot do everything. There is no do everything fabric out there, but this is pretty great. The insulation for this one is 40 gram FullRange. So the original Nano-Air was 60 gram FullRange. It's stretch insulation, but it is 33% less insulation than the Nano-Air. And so that's what we were talking about earlier, that the Nano-Air Light, this one, is lighter in weight, yes, but it is also lighter in insulation. So this is going to be more for when you're being active than it will be for a belay jacket. So we talked about the hood, we talked about the cuffs. One thing I didn't mention is that there is no cinch on the bottom here. So what you see here is what you get. Unlike the cuffs that have like a spandex, this doesn't stretch beyond what the regular jacket stretches, so there's no way for it to fit you super tight. So think about that when sizing, because if you're going to have a lot of air coming in, it's going to keep you a lot cooler. Speaking of Patagonia, they claim that it's 75% more breathable than the Nano-Air Hoody, as well as 33% less insulative, which, as we already shared, 40 grams versus 60 gram insulation. So that is, you know, a third of less there, but it does mean that it's lighter weight, all while maintaining all of that stretch that the original one was known for, and that made it so popular. Let's move on to the exterior of the jacket, which for me is why the Nano-Air line is my favorite line that Patagonia has overall, even over the DOS line, or even more so than the Fitzroy down parka. I love the way this Nano-Air feels. It is incredibly soft and breathable for something that keeps you, quite as warm as it does. It's also incredibly quiet. So for those of you who are looking for insulation for pursuits like hunting, this might be a good pick. Though, if you plan on crawling around the brush, I would throw a tougher shell on top of this. Even though the exterior features a 30 denier nylon ripstop fabric, it is nowhere near immune to snags. You could snag this very easily, and so I would just keep that in mind and put something more abrasion resistant on the exterior. Speaking of the fabric, if you haven't heard the term before, denier, which is often seen just as like a capital D, so for 30 denier for the exterior of this hoodie, if you're reading the specs, it looks like 30 and then capital D, or the 50D for the lining. It's a measurement of how thick the fibers of a fabric are. So the lower the denier, the lighter and thinner the fabric is in general. Most middle ground waterproof jackets use fabric around 40 denier. This one's got 30 on the outside, 50 on the inside. Meanwhile, like a really lightweight fabric designed for use with down, like the Patagonia ultralight down hoodie, which is a jacket that we will be reviewing here soon, that is as fine as 10 denier, so that's really lightweight. This Nano-Air light hoodie and the regular Nano-Air aren't meant to keep you completely dry in a complete downpour, but they do a pretty good job in rain, at least before the DWR wears off. So we're talking durable water repellent. And just like all DWR jackets, it'll have to be reapplied every so often, depending on how often you use this. So if you're using it every day, you'll have to reapply it every now and then. There are a lot of options when it comes to that. You can wash in, which is my favorite way of doing it. You just buy detergent and follow the instructions on that detergent, put it in the wash, and it actually will refresh the DWR for you. So like we said, inside of this hoodie is 40 gram FullRange polyester stretch insulation, which, as the name suggests, will help you stretch if you're climbing a wall or ice climbing in this hoodie. That's a huge benefit of this insulation. It actually allows you to stretch really well. The regular Nano-Air is 60 gram FullRange, so don't expect the light to be as heavy or keep you as warm as the original. I do like the fact that this one's cooler. It allows me to wear it more on the shoulder seasons as well as when I'm in really active pursuits. I tend to run warm when working out outside, so it allows me to dump that heat faster, which is good, especially considering the fact that because it's not a full zip jacket, it's not as easy to take on and off as a regular Nano-Air hoodie or the Nano-Air light hybrid hoodie. So the fact that I can open it up and the fact that it's lighter insulation just allows that heat to escape without me having to take this on and off and on and off, which would become a pain for a jacket that isn't full zip. Weight-wise, this Nano-Air light does live up to its name. As you can see here, it weighs quite a bit less than the regular Nano-Air hoodie, though it does come at the cost of not having a full zipper and losing 3 out of the 4 pockets. So if you plan ahead accordingly, you can stash your stuff in your backpack. You don't have to stash it in pockets, but sometimes I do opt for the regular Nano-Air hoodie just because I just want a jacket that can fit everything in the pockets, especially the biggest time that I do that is when I'm fly fishing. I can just throw all my gear into my pockets and not have to worry about grabbing a vest or anything. With this, I will grab a vest and throw the vest over it just so I have enough pockets to carry everything. So in that use case, because I'm grabbing a vest, I'm actually negating any weight savings and even further wearing something that's a lot heavier. That being said, it does allow me to have that control over how heavy the garment is that I'm wearing. Yeah, so overall, I love this hoodie. It is an almost everyday wear for me in the fall and winter here in Colorado, and when I was in Iceland as well last fall. If you can find one online, I highly, highly, highly recommend picking it up. This was $249 originally. I picked this up for under $100 online, and you can find them every now and then. There are some people who know what they have, keep them around $200, and that's when it becomes less of a value. But if it's around $100, I think it's a pretty great value, especially if it's in good condition. And I've been able to snag them for even less, so you might get lucky there. In Patagonia, if you are watching this by some random chance, please bring this thing back. It is one of my favorite pieces that you've ever made.